Hey everybody, it's Dave from Folktopia. Recently, DoD Outdoors gifted me their RX Pyramid tent, and so I thought I'd do a shakedown trip and talk a little bit about my grand philosophy of tent camping. And along the way, reflect about the system of camping that DoD Outdoors offers, and why I like it so much. Ready? Let's go. I've spent a lot of nights in tents. Cheap nights, cold nights, beautiful nights. Back when my wife and I were younger, we used to travel almost entirely by tent, especially out west. You'd pull into some little fishing access site in Montana, put $3 cash into a metal box, set up camp near the river, maybe heat up soup on a camp stove, and call it good. And honestly, a lot of that was about money, saving money. Tent camping let us travel farther and longer than we otherwise could. And then later came camping with kids. And if you've camped with young kids, you already know, things rarely go according to plan. Actually, I'd go farther than that. Camping basically never goes according to plan. And that's where camping gets interesting.
Look at these heavy-duty stakes.
Because once things get uncomfortable, once weather moves in, once somebody's cold or wet or tired or hungry, you start to see how people are built, and that includes yourself. Camping has certainly shown me what I'm made of, which it turns out is mostly Cinnabons. But seriously, I do enjoy the challenge of trying to be prepared and helping people be comfortable even when conditions are not ideal. So for this trip, I wanted to do a little shakedown test. This is something I like to do before going on a bigger trip. So my wife and our dog Honey came out with me for the afternoon to this nice little hike-in spot with the woods on one side and the prairie on the other. One thing I specifically wanted to try was setting up the outer shelf first, because I think this tent could actually work really well as a shade shelter on its own.
Cinnabons.
Choosing the right site is important with this tent. It's got quite a large perimeter area, so much so that I didn't have room to tie out the guy lines in the smaller site that we were at. I would have chosen the prairie side of the campground if I had known, but that's all the reason to do these shakedown tests.
So it has
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 base stakeout points, which makes it very tidy for shedding rain.
Oh, yeah.
But then it also has 1, 2, 3,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guy lines.
So I think this would stand up to a good bit of weather.
Another thing that surprised me was how stable the tent felt even without the guy lines. And I'm guessing part of that comes from the teepee-style design, which has a reduced cross-section against the wind. There's just less for the wind to grab onto. I like that. Wisconsin being Wisconsin, the bugs were a little out of control. So instead of leisurely experimenting with setup configurations, I got some very fast hands-on experience trying to put up the mesh liner in a out-of-order kind of way. This was while getting eaten by mosquitoes, which honestly is probably a better real-world test anyway. And thankfully, it was totally manageable. I really appreciate the DoD Outdoor ecosystem. Once you start using some of the gear and understanding the logic behind it, you start looking at the rest of the system differently. So after this trip, I ended up going back through the DoD website, basically imagining my ideal camp setup. And a few things immediately stood out to me. First off, the good luck sofa. I want it. This thing makes total sense to me because one thing traditional camp chairs aren't very good at is actually creating a shared space. Then there's the wagon. And after hauling gear into that hike-in site, yeah, I get it immediately. I think one thing that's going to be essential is the bed-in-a-bag cot. Another thing I immediately started wanting was the RX Pyramid tent mat. And then there's the Takanoko Bell tent, because this thing feels less like a backpacking shelter and more like creating a temporary outdoor living space. My brother's got some acreage and is having a big event this summer. And I think this bell tent will be perfect because he's got a lot of wide open space and a lot of people coming. So a big airy tent will be a nice place for a small group of people to hang out. So no, I don't think you need every piece of matching gear to enjoy camping. Some of my favorite camping memories came from completely cobbled together setups. But I do think there's something satisfying about gradually refining your system over time, figuring out what matters to you, what kind of camping you really enjoy, what makes camp feel smoother, calmer, more dialed in. And that's really the part of DoD Outdoors that's connecting with me right now. Well, I hope you enjoyed this journey of tents and tent camping philosophy. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next video. This is the thing that started it for me, which is their campfire bellows that has a ninja throwing star as the base. And you've got the mouthpiece, the throwing star base, these brass sections. Easy to put together. Nice materials. Unique. Conversation starter. Kind of an object of desire. Makes your campsite a little special. And super practical to keep your fire hot and burning well.